Today we're going to have a quick little yoga session about hip openers. How do you know if you have tight hips? First question to ask. Sit cross-legged, and if your knees are higher than your hips, congratulations, you're in the tight hip club. I'm president of the tight hip club. So how can we do that? How can we help that? We can sit on a block or a blanket and try to help even things up. This one's just super, super tight until it becomes titanium like this one is. So anyway, that helped a little bit. It's going down a little bit. If your knees are on the floor, you've got nice open hips. So you can always lift your hips up, lift your rear up to even things up if you want to loosen the hips some. So just do this little test, and then we'll come back to this at the end of our little class and see if things are a little bit looser. So starting off, we're going to come onto our back. So just roll down, hug your knees into your chest, and just rock from side to side a couple of times. I'm going to be moving back and forth so you can see different views, but just roll on your sacrum. Roll your hips from side to side. This ought to feel pretty good. And then bring your knees back into your chest. We're going to let the left leg stretch out and keep this right knee pulled in, and then circle the knee around. Go ahead and start a nice inhale and exhale through the nose, and then reverse that knee. And then bring it in to your chest as you inhale, and then as you exhale, give it a little push away. So kind of fight it with your hands. And then pull back, inhale, exhale, one more time. And then as you exhale, go ahead and just press this knee out to the right and let the foot come over towards the left leg. So it may be up here on your thigh, it may be down on your shin. It could depend on the knee. You can have that block there if you need it. But just take your right hand and gently press on the inner thigh. Every time you exhale, give it a little press. And then lift that knee up, bring the knee back into the chest and extend the leg up. If your hamstring's tight, keep the knee bent, but we're going to go ahead and bend and straighten the knee a few times anyway. And then lower that leg down and bring your left knee into the chest, hug it in. You might give it a second to kind of get used to being pulled in, and then circle it around each way a few times. And then bring that knee back into your chest. Big deep inhale. Exhale, push the leg away. Inhale. Bring it back in. Exhale one more time. And then as you exhale, push that leg away and press the knee out to the left. And then bring that foot towards your right leg. So we're just coming into our tree on this side. And just let the left hand go onto the inner thigh. Just press down. Every exhale, give it a little press. And then release that. Bring the left knee back into your chest and the right one too. Rock again from side to side. And then come back to the center. Now stretch that left leg out again. And we're going to take the right foot onto your left thigh or knee or shin, and then just press out. So, you can see how much space I've got. I told you I had tight hips. And then you can take your hand right up here into this hip crease and massage around. That might help it, might give it, might open just a tiny bit. And then you can slide it back in for your tree again. And again, just give it a little press. And then reach your arms up and over your head. Just take this opportunity to make it a little bigger back bend. Don't have to worry about your balance in this kind of tree. And then lift those arms, bring that right knee back into your chest and hug the left knee in and stretch the right leg out. And then we're just going to put this left foot on the right leg and let that left hip open out. You can help it, you can press it a little bit. Take that hand up into the hip crease, massage around up there. And then slide the foot inside the leg for another tree, and as you exhale, just gently press on that inner left thigh. And then big inhale, lift your arms up. And again, if your shoulders like this, reach your arms over your head. If your shoulders are kind of fussing at you, maybe bend the elbows. Make goalpost arms or scarecrow arms, whatever you want to call it. Or just bring your hands onto your ribs and feel the ribs expand and contract as you breathe. And as you inhale, lift that left knee, bring it back into the chest, and the right one too. And then open your knees to the left, open your arms out to the side. Just coming into a twist. And then inhale, lift the knees up, exhale, roll them to the right. Now bring the left arm up and over. So if you're a back sleeper, this is how you need to start getting out of bed. You just roll onto your side, stretch out your top leg, put your hand on the floor, and then press yourself up instead of sitting straight up first thing in the morning. So come around onto your hands and knees. So hands are going to be under your shoulders, hips are right under your knees. I gotta turn sideways here, a little crooked. And just arch your back up and then release out. So our cows and cats. Here's our cat as we exhale. Get a good look at your thighs. Inhale, lengthen out. I'm keeping my arms nice and long. One more time. This is really good for the back. And then come back to a neutral spine and lift this left leg up and down. Just like you're a dog at a fire hydrant. One more time. And then switch legs. Lift that right one up and down. Just letting that hip open up a little bit more before we get going. And release. Now take your right leg and just step that foot up. Curl those left toes under. Lift that left knee. Just coming into a lunge. So press that left leg back. Scoot it back as much as you can. If you have knee issues, then you can take a block or a blanket if you have one. But let that left knee come down onto the block. You know, if you don't have knee issues, you don't have to use one. But lower the knee down, and my thigh is going to be at an angle. So kind of scoot that knee back a little bit and then roll above that kneecap. Your right knee is over the ankle, maybe a little bit behind it. You just don't want the knee going past it. But you want to be getting that big stretch here in your left thigh and your hip. You can use the blocks here for your hands. Come up into a little bigger back bend. And I chopped my head off in the video, but There you go. So just let that hip stretch. We're going to stay on this side and really work on this left hip, then we'll switch over to the right hip. So curl that left foot under, lift the knee. We're going to step our right leg back and push back to a down dog. Look at your feet. That's where your gaze is. Come up on the tippy toes. So feel those hips lift over. You can see mine lifting up over your ankles. And then you can start to push the heels down. They may touch the floor, they may not. What you don't want is plank arms. You don't want the shoulders coming forward. You want the arms at an angle. You're working pretty much every muscle in your body. So take that left knee, bend it, pick that foot up and open that hip up. Just stretch it open like you're trying to reach something with that foot. Woo, my mat slid. And then exhale, close that hip, set the foot down, and step your right foot up again. Turn this left heel to the right. So line your heels up. If you had a line drawn on your mat, your heels would be on the same line. Bring your right elbow to your knee and bring your hand to your hip and open up, and then take that hand onto your low back and pull your right shoulder under. I need to scoot over because my camera's too close. And I'm chopping my head off and you can't see the top. So open up. Like I said, this is not professionally done. But just bring your hand onto your low back, open up, and then kind of push down with the heel of the hand. Then slide your hand over to your hip and push down right there on that hip flexor. Stretch your ribs out. You can let this right hand come down to the floor or the block. And then touch your shoulder, lift that elbow up and extend your arm. Nice deep breaths. And then bring that hand back to your hip and straighten this right leg. Pull that shoulder under. Again, the hip may open some. You might just keep pushing it down a little bit. Depends on your low back. But this left leg, or this right leg, is long and strong. Maybe a little bit of bend in the knee. Depends on your knee. Add that arm up. Push that left outer foot into the mat. And then as you exhale, lower down, just face your right leg. Fold forward. And then soften that right knee, pick the left foot up. We're going to step back to another down dog. Walk it out a little bit. Take your dog for a walk. And then bend that left knee again, pick the foot up, open that hip. And then we're going to come into a pigeon. So exhale, close that hip as you inhale, bring the knee to the chest, and then this left foot's going to turn out to the right. And if you have really open hips, your shin will be parallel to the mat, your knee will be out at 9 o'clock. Not so open hips, that left knee is going to be 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. But the hips are squared up, even though the left hip's opening. And you can stay up and make this a bigger back bend. You can come down onto your elbows, stretch your arms out. I'll show you what this looks like from the front here a minute, but while I've got my right leg extended out, push the top of your foot into the floor and let that knee lift up. Then you know you've got that leg in the right position. You don't have the foot sickled in or out. Let your chest press towards the floor. Pull those shoulder blades towards each other. And just nice, long, deep breaths. A couple more. And then as you inhale, just walk your hands up. So I'm going to show you what it looks like from the front. If you're a visual person. So I'm going to bring this right hip up to the left heel. And my left knee's turned out. And then I can settle down. Take a few more deep breaths. And then walk your hands up. Now, if you want to do a power move, we're going to do that in a second. If you're like, no thanks, slide this left leg back, and you're going to push back into a child pose. So this is a go-to pose for down dogs. You know, if you've got issues, you don't want to do down dogs, you can always do a child pose. If you get frustrated, maybe sometimes you just need to go into a child pose. But if you want to do the little power move, if you're in your pigeon, then we're going to curl those right toes under, lift that knee, push your arms up, and then pick that left leg up, reach it back, three-legged down dog, then open that left hip one more time. And then exhale, close that hip, come back to a down dog. And then on your next inhale, step that left foot up. All this fun on the other side, so this right leg is stretching back, coming into our lunge, so you can see my left knee is over the ankle. Let that right knee come down, maybe scoot it back, and then roll above that kneecap. Hang out in your lunge. And then you want to make sure this right hip is not dropping down towards the floor, so you kind of start turning to the side. You want to keep it lifted up. I'm going to turn around the other way so you can see. So this right leg still stretched back, but I don't want this to happen. So imagine you've got a little pole here holding your hip up. And all of a sudden my throat's all scratchy. Now curl those right toes under, lift that knee up. And then step your left leg back, kick up the mats, and push back into a down dog. Walk it out. And then bend that right knee, pick that foot up and open that hip up. And then as you exhale, set that foot down and step your left foot back up. So turn that right heel to the left. Lengthen out and then bring this left elbow to your knee, and your right hand's going to come around onto your low back, open up, kind of pull this left knee over. And then just scoot your right hand down onto the hip, press down. Stretch your ribs out, and then touch your shoulder. Let that elbow lift up and extend your arm over your head. If there's a wall right there, just touch the wall. You can even let that arm go down. Reach this right arm up. It's out of the frame, but you know where it is. And then exhale. Lower your right hand down. Straighten this left leg. Kind of arch your back up and push that left foot or that right foot into the mat, and then lengthen out, coming into our triangle, and then bring this right hand to your hip. Zip your thighs up. And then you can add that right arm or keep it on the hip. Shoulder issues, just keep it right here on the hip. And then exhale, release. Pick up that right heel, hands on the floor. Step your left leg back to a down dog. And then pick that right leg up again. Open up that hip. Be sure you're pushing your hands away. Again, you don't want to go into plank. You got your arms at an angle. Now close this right hip and bring the knee into your chest. So we're coming into our pigeon on this side. Turn that right knee out. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And pull this left hip up towards your right heel. Again, work on the back bend. Work on your core. Or just kind of let everything go. Get your block. Put your head on the block if you want to do that. But again, you got that left leg extended. You can push the toe, the top of the foot down and let that knee lift up. And while you're here, this is a good time to turn your palms up and wiggle the fingers. And then curl the wrists back and forth. Anytime you do something where your hands are in the same position all the time, like computer stuff or gardening or golf or whatever you have to do, riding your bike, and you have your hands in the same position a lot, turn them the other way. Stretch them out. Do a counter pose for your hands. Try to keep carpal tunnel away. And then slowly walk up. So you can just push yourself back into child pose, or you can curl those left toes under, lift that knee, push your arms down, reach up, and open that right hip one more time. And then close that hip. Set your foot down. Now walk your hands back to your feet. And forward bend. You can still bend those knees. We've warmed up. But if you have hip, low back, or hamstring issues, bend those knees. And then lengthen out. I'm just stepping up a little bit because I'm at the very end of my mat. Now squat down. Everybody's squat is different. Your rear may be close to the floor. It may not be anywhere near the floor. Your toes may turn out. If they do, that's fine. Just let the knees turn out with them. But this is a good stretch for the low back and the hips. Try to do a squat once a day if you can. And then release and just have a seat on the floor. Find out where my strap is. So stretch your legs out. Get on your sit bones, move your thighs, roll them to the side and then out. And then we're going to bring this right knee in and bring the foot over to the left. So like our tree, but now we're sitting down. And you can see, space here. Now you can take a strap if you need it or a towel and just loop it around this left foot and then sit up nice and tall. And then pull yourself down. So you want the chest reaching out. You don't want the back to round like this. You want to lengthen out. So that's where the strap comes in handy. You may not need the strap. This right arm's got to reach over, so that's a twist. If you don't like it, just put your hand on the floor or a block. And nice deep breaths. I'll do the left side facing you so you can see what it looks like from the front. And then slowly walk up. So just bring the left leg in front, coming into a cross-legged pose. And believe it or not, this hip is opened a smidge. Sit up nice and tall. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then switch your feet. So there goes this hip. It's a lot looser, which isn't saying a whole lot, but it is. And then let the right leg slide out, and your left foot's going to come inside it. Knee people, bring your foot down onto the shin. So again, sit up nice and tall, get on that sit bone, grab your strap if you need it, reach up and fold out. And then look straight down. You may need to see what I'm doing, but then look straight down, feel your neck lengthen out. Couple of deep breaths. And then as you inhale, walk your hands up your legs. Bring that leg back in for one more little cross-legged pose. Wiggle your toes a little bit, and then bring those knees together, hug them in, and put your feet on the floor, uncross your legs, and roll to your back, hug those knees in, open your arms and take your knees over to one side. So everything we did was a good little back bend. So we need a twist. And then lift the knees up, roll them to the other side. Now we close out yoga with Shavasana, which is relaxation. So bring those knees back to the center. Stretch your legs out. It's usually 2, 3, 4 minutes. We're not going to do that today. You can pause this video and just hang out here and not worry about anything, not think about anything. Don't even worry about your breath. Let your arms come down at your side. You can stay here for as long as you want. But when you're ready to come out of it, bring the knees back into your chest and roll to one side. And then again, stretch out that top leg. Press yourself up, back to a seated pose. Bring your hands to your heart and just take a few seconds. Say a little quick prayer. Be thankful for something. Be happy. So thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste. Namaste inside while it's quarantine time.